Now we will discuss the hypersecretion of ADH and hyposecretion of ADH. In what conditions the hypersecretion of ADH occurs? There is a condition which is known as SIADHS, syndrome of inappropriate ADH secretion. Syndrome of inappropriate ADH secretion. There is the excessive secretion of ADH. Where this ADH is actually secreted in this condition? As we know, the lungs. Sometimes lungs develop a tumor, and these tumor cells are able to produce the ADH. As we know, in the tumor, the number of the cells increase. If there is increase in the number of cells, the ADH secreted by these cells will be very high. ADH will be very high. Now what will happen? If the ADH is very high, it will go to our principal cells, it will stimulate the V2 receptors, and it will reabsorb more and more water. When there is the absorption of, or we can say retention of more water, when there is absorption of more and more water, the volume of the blood will increase. What will happen? There will be hypervolemia. Hypervolemia. The volume of the blood will increase. Whenever there is hypervolemia, what will happen? There will be increase in the blood pressure. The blood pressure will increase blood pressure. The hypertension can occur, and other conditions can occur as well, like edema can develop, cerebral edema, which is very dangerous condition. This was the hypersecretion. Now in hyposecretion, if there is hyposecretion of the ADH is seen in the disease which is known as diabetes insipidus. Diabetes insipidus. Diabetes insipidus is divided into three categories. The first one is the central or cranial diabetes insipidus. The second one is the nephrogenic diabetes insipidus. Nephrogenic diabetes insipidus. Third one is gestational. Now, diabetes insipidus, gestational diabetes insipidus. Now, the first one is the cranial diabetes insipidus. What happened in the cranial diabetes insipidus? Actually, if there is any, we can say, trauma or any infection in the hypothalamus, there will be damage of the supraoptic nucleus. Whenever there is damage of the supraoptic nucleus, there will not be release of ADH. There will be hyposecretion, or we can say there is no secretion of ADH. When the ADH is not available, what will happen? These receptors will not be stimulated, the water will not be reabsorbed. Now, in this condition, what will happen? Now, the first step you should know, the urine which was diluted, it will remain diluted because the water is not reabsorbed back. Now we can say the urine remain very diluted, and the heavy amount of urine will be secreted, or we can say the heavy amount of urine will be excreted out. The normal urine output, let me write here, normal urine output, daily urine output is 2000 ml, 2000, or we can say which is equal to 2 liters. It's the daily urine output per day. But in diabetes insipidus, what happens? There is the loss of urine. How much? There are about 10 to 20 liters every day. 10 to 20 liters are excreted out every day. Okay, this was regarding the cranial diabetes insipidus. In there is a nephrogenic diabetes insipidus. What happens in the nephrogenic diabetes insipidus? There is a problem within the kidney. Look here. If the principal cells are damaged, they will not be able to, we can say, the ADH. If the ADH is available, there will not be availability of the V2 receptors. Or we can say, in the nephrogenic diabetes, there is the receptor insensitivity. Receptors are not functional. Or we can say receptors are not available. When the receptors are not available, the ADH action will not be there. When there is not ADH action, again the water cannot be reabsorbed. When the water is not reabsorbed, same condition will occur. There will be diluted urine and there will be excess loss of urine. There will be diuresis. Okay. Now come to the third one, the gestational diabetes. You know, the oxytocin is the main hormone which helps in the parturition, which contracts the uterus during the parturition. Okay. Now this oxytocin, it's also known as the love hormone. It is secreted during the parturition. But remember one thing, during the pregnancy, this oxytocin is very harmful for the mother's baby, because it helps in the contraction of the uterus. When there is contraction of the uterus, that can lead to the harmful effect to the baby, which can eventually lead to the death of the baby. During the pregnancy, this hormone is not important. What will happen if this hormone is secreted during the pregnancy? Remember, this hormone is degraded by a vasopressinase, an enzyme which is known as the vasopressinase. This vasopressinase is secreted by the placenta. It is secreted by the placenta. Now, this vasopressinase degrades this oxytocin, and the oxytocin will be no more available. But remember one thing, vasopressinase also degrades the ADH. It also degrades ADH. If there is excessive, normally in the mothers, in every mother, the vasopressinase is secreted by the placenta. If the placenta, if there is a condition, the placenta secretes a lot of vasopressinase. If there is secretion of high amounts of vasopressinase, this vasopressinase will degrade ADH also, which can lead to the gestational diabetes insipidus, because the ADH will not be available for its action. It can cause the gestational diabetes insipidus. Now I want to mention here the symptoms of the diabetes insipidus. Let me rub out this here. And the first symptoms of diabetes insipidus. Symptoms. The first symptom will be polydipsia. Polydipsia means there will be excessive thirst. Why there is excessive thirst? Because lot of water is excreted through with the urine. There will be, we can say, another symptom. We can dry skin. dry skin. Third one, there will be polyuria. Polyuria means higher amount of urine or excessive amount of urine. Polyuria. Another symptom, fourth one. What was this? The symptom is, man, the water is not reabsorbed. There will be hypovolemia. There will be hypovolemia. Hypovolemia. The volume of blood will be less. When there is hypovolemia can lead to hypotension, low BP, hypotension. Also, the another symptom which you can see in the diabetes insipidus is the bad wetting. Bad wetting. And you will see a person is awaking whole night. Awake. The person will awake whole night due to the urge of the urination. There will be another symptom, as I have already mentioned, like polyuria, polydipsia, bad wetting, dry skin, waking. Also, there will be colorless urine. Colorless urine. As we know, the normal color of the urine is pale yellow, but in the diabetes insipidus there is colorless urine. This was all about the ADH and the clinical correlates. Hope you understood that.